Well, good Thursday morning to you as we give you a beautiful look at downtown Indianapolis this morning there. The fountains flowing and maybe a little rain coming with it later today.
Yeah, we're expecting that a little later today, but all you need to know right now, it's a dry start, and the truck is back this morning. Glad to have you back.
Good to be back. 2 days, and then I get off again.
There we go.
Well, we want to focus on your morning drive. Yesterday it was kind of tricky, even some school delays in some rural areas because of that fog. Looks like we're fog-free, but the radar is not clear.
No, it's not totally clear. We do have some rain in the western part of the state. And really, ladies, the deeper we go today into the day, the more likely you are to get wet. So as Julia mentioned, we're mainly dry out there right now. And good morning, Indianapolis, 40 degrees in beautiful Carmel there near the Palladium and the Center for Performing Arts. It's 39, so that's quite a bit warmer than yesterday. In fact, about 10 degrees warmer in some spots. The Storm Prediction Center, Norman, Oklahoma, for late today and tonight has this area of the Indiana-Illinois border west under a marginal risk of severe weather on a level 1 to 5. That would be a 1, and we'll explain that later this morning. But you'll see two areas of rain. One right here. This is a line that keeps bringing very light rain and drizzle into portions of western Indiana. And this, well, the rain's heavier, and this line from St. Louis to Evansville actually will move into the Indy Metro tonight, late this afternoon, or tonight more likely. So this is what we're looking at, just not much out there. As I zoom into I-74 near the, well, really, that's right over the Beef House there near Covington. We're seeing some rain this morning, but that's about it. So a dry 40 in Indy. Good morning, you Bulldogs in Brownsburg at 37, 38 in Shelbyville, and 35 in Pendleton. As we move throughout the state, most of you are in the 40s. And again, that is warmer than yesterday. 8 degrees warmer in Indy, but Bedford and Lafayette already this morning running 13 degrees warmer than yesterday. Yesterday, by the way, we got up to 57. We'll get up to 57 today with that marginal risk of severe weather in portions of Fountain County later on tonight. 48 by 10 a.m. as we move on into later today, 57, and we'll have much more for you in minutes. But let's talk about traffic, and we've had some real issues on I-69 this morning, Matt.
Yes, in the far eastern Madison County on the southeast side of Anderson. Let's go ahead and zoom in here on the maps. This is just as you pass Scatterfield Road. There on the south side of Anderson, you're headed north on I-69, you're starting to make that turn there. The county line with Delaware County is about here, so that it's pretty close to where you got that sign going in from Madison, Delaware County. This is what the camera looks like this morning. We've got a couple different crews responding, but the accident, the crash, the multi-vehicle crash is up here. It's hard to tell as the camera's kind of coming in and out of focus, but there's a semi-tractor trailer off to the side in the ditch. It looks like there could have been a couple other cars involved too. The outside lane is closed, the inside lane is open, so we'll keep an eye on this. Plus, we have a couple ramp closures in Greenfield in Hancock County, and I-70 bound westbound. Julia?
All right, Matt, thank you. Well, this morning, a woman faces charges in connection to hitting a 14-year-old with her car in the city's west side. It happened near 16th and Tibbs on Saturday.
Yeah, now another child is recovering after being hit on the south side. We can tell you that child is okay, but we're learning this isn't the only incident this month, far from it.
Yeah, in fact, it is the 10th time in the past 30 days a child has been hit by a car along the road or on a sidewalk. Anna Chalker is downtown this morning with a look at those numbers that we are seeing. They're startling, Anna. Good morning.
They really are, ladies. Good morning. That first one happening on February 27th, and the most recent, it was yesterday. So I want to show you where all 10 happened in the city on this map. As you can see, it's really spread out all over the city. And the one that happened yesterday was on Appleton Drive at an apartment complex on the south side, right across the street from a playground. And neighbors tell us that area has really had a speeding problem for years. So according to data from Safe Streets Indy, 8 of the 10 victims this month were taken to local hospitals. At least 3 were involved with a hit and run driver, and police classified 4 of these incidents to have serious bodily injury. So Eric Holt with Safe Streets Indy says now is the time for drivers to be more aware, especially as it gets warmer outside.
As the temperatures warm up, more people are getting outside. And I think, what tends to happen is that drivers kind of get a little complacent, especially over the winter. They're not used to and expecting to see, as many people out walking and biking.
And like you mentioned, one of those instances happened with a 14-year-old who was hit by a woman allegedly drunk driving on the west side. She was arrested. So all of this comes after months after the Vision Zero task force was created through the City County Council. We'll have an update on what their progress looks like and what this group is asking from them coming up at 6:30.
Yeah, and hopefully progress can be fast, especially noted there that the warmer weather is only going to bring more people out.
Thank you, Anna. Well, this morning, a shocking story as Metro Police tell us they are now looking for 2 more people who are now charged in that recent bust of the Sur 13 gang. Investigators tell us they are looking for 16-year-old Anthony Nanez and Freddie Martinez. Court records show that this is Nanez posing with guns on his social media. Both are charged with criminal organization activity with a firearm. You might remember police arrested 7 men across the city that they believe are members of the Sur 13 gang, which claims allegiance to the Mexican mafia. Court records say that gang members use social media like this to sell guns and drugs.
Well, this morning, an Indianapolis law firm is announcing they plan to sue Martinsville schools after a former teacher is accused of having group sex with students.
In these legal documents, they allege that school leaders ignored red flags and allowed Brittany Fortenberry to stay employed there despite her inappropriate behavior. Right now, Fortenberry is facing dozens of criminal charges. Prosecutors say that Fortenberry drugged those young boys and forced them to have sex and even paid hundreds of dollars for explicit pictures.
We did talk with that lawyer representing one of the alleged victims.
When there's smoke, there's fire. And these cases, unfortunately, is all about grooming the kids. And that's what she did using her job, displaying this for others to see, including other school officials, the principal, and then, of course, her job history.
Well, according to the law firm, 10 boys between the ages of 13 and 16 were abused by Fortenberry while she worked as a substitute teacher for Martinsville schools. We did receive a statement from the district there saying that they did conduct a full background check, but it showed no criminal activity at the time. She also worked at Eminence Community Schools. A spokesperson there says that Fortenberry was suspended after these misconduct allegations.
Also in Martinsville this morning, the Hoosier Environmental Council is filing a lawsuit over concerns about contaminated water in that community. The lawsuit names the Indiana Department of Environmental Management and AES-owned power plant. It claims the plant releases untreated wastewater into a stretch of the White River. Well, lawyers for the group say that section is upstream of Martinsville's municipal wells that provide the city's drinking water. So we did reach out to IDEM about this lawsuit. A spokesman says they don't comment on pending litigation.
Well, neighbors on the southeast side got the chance to speak up about some opportunities of rebuilding in the inner loop. The focus of the Virginia Avenue area near the south split of I-65 and I-70 here. It's called the Rethink Coalition, and they met with community members last night hoping to get their input on what they'd like to see in this area. Right now, the Rethink Coalition is conducting what they call Reconnecting Communities. It's a planning study, so people got the chance to share their visions on how they think the process should go.
It's incredibly important because I know if this were I don't live in this neighborhood, but if this were my neighborhood and this might happen in my neighborhood, I'd want to have a say in it.
The study is paid for by a federal grant from the Department of Transportation. And if this is your neighborhood and you couldn't make it to last night's workshop, you can always share your thoughts on the Rethink Coalition's website. This morning, the next phase in the Henry Street Bridge construction is taking shape. This is the work on that east bank of the White River, and it's finished now, according to DPW's archaeology consultant. So that means construction can start there sometime soon. This worksite is also the former home of the Green Lawn Cemetery, which is the city's first public cemetery. So crews have been working pretty carefully there to process remains that have been found. The archaeology team is still working on the excavation process, moving east towards Kentucky Avenue.
And that's not the only road work happening right now around the city. Crews are working right now to repair all the streets of Indianapolis from a rough winter. DPW shared some pictures on social media showing some progress along a very messy Meridian Street. The post showing that contractors have been working between 38th and 62nd Streets. Now, there is no shortage of potholes across the city, as you now no doubt know if you have to drive them. It's taking some time to get things repaired. City leaders do ask for patience as they make some progress. Okay, coming up on 6:10, and today the Purdue Boilermakers will be back on the court.
It's not game time just yet. They're just getting ready and some practice for that Sweet 16 game tomorrow. The team got back to Indy yesterday for their upcoming game against Houston at Lucas Oil Stadium. It'll be a late tip-off. It's set to start just after 10 o'clock. So our Dominic Miranda is covering the Boilers as they prepare for Houston.
One lousy point. That's all it took. So the Lakers end our Pacers winning 5-game streak after LeBron James tips in a missed shot by Luka Doncic at the very last second, and it was literally the buzzer.
It was a heartbreaker for sure. The Lakers did win this one, 120-119. While Luka put up 34 points for the Lakers, Ben Mathurin had 23 points to lead the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton also had a season high, 18 assists and 16 points. Just wasn't quite enough.
By 1 point enough, right? So tonight the Pacers are in the nation's capital to play the Wizards. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Julia, and speaking of sports, big day today if you're a baseball fan. Major League Baseball's opening day. Close to us, the Reds host the Giants, 62 at the first pitch at 4:10. They could have some rain. We could too. In fact, we will. And we'll have a timeline for you coming up.
Well, this morning, a Connecticut woman is accused of subjecting her stepson to relentless abuse and even imprisonment. At 6:45, why the 32-year-old finally escaped after being held captive for nearly 2 decades.
Sticker shock. President Trump announcing a new round of tariffs focusing on the auto industry. Coming up at 6:15, what most economists say is likely to happen if the president follows through.